Agnes?
Yes, thank you. I would like to add, because I agree what you've been saying. I think in this big globalization world, the fundamentals, such as family, just changed. Our core values are changing, and not every time in a good way. And this is the case in terms of the families as well. Family as a value changed. And what we have to do now, what we are doing here in Hungary, is to support the families, to put them into the middle, to say what was just said, that a family is a man and a woman, and because this is biologic, and we have to get back in a very simple way, family again back to fashion. Because if we support families, if we put them into the middle, and if we say that this is the way if you have family, then it will be a fashion again, and then it's problem solved.
Let's hope. We can only hope. Jay?
はい、やっぱり私も思うのはですね、今南アフリカの方がこの4、50年で変わってきたっておっしゃってましたけれども、確かになんか国連が主体となったウーマンリブの流れで、何か女性と男性家族の間を分断するような動きというのが日本でもバーッと入り始めてきた気が非常にしています。けれども我々日本人というのは実はもともとそんなものが入ってこなくても家族ですごくうまくいっていたんですね。要は男性は女性を尊重し、女性は男性を尊重し、非常にいい形というのがずっと伝統的に言っていたものが、特にこの4、50年の流れでなぜか分断というふうになってきたのが非常に問題だと思っています。
Family, among many other things, among the fundamental building blocks of society, among the basic unit where society reproduces itself, an important economic element, family businesses have raised many countries. Among all those things, it's also an expression of the human will to live, the human struggle against everything that is dark. What kind of an ideological transformation do you need, or do we need, to awaken the inner life instinct of our societies? And would that help us stop declining the West as it is?
I think, in a way, this goes back to the earlier comment that we should not seek to replace a bad ideology with a good ideology, but rather to return to reality. And yes, we all have ideological predispositions and so forth, but I also think in terms of how we think about families, we, as an international conservative movement, of course, we're not homogeneous. We have different views, and which is a good thing, and different cultures, and that diversity should be cherished. And that's actually what it could mean to say we have strength in diversity, is to recognize diversity of cultural preferences and so forth. But we are in a hostile environment. Even Hungary, which is regarded as, in some ways a capital of conservatism, and Hungary is being attacked, and we're all being attacked where we are in different ways. And I think it's also important for us, again, to go back to these natural identities and so forth, but also not under these hostile circumstances to succumb to the temptation to define ourselves by what we are not. In other words, to say, we are conservative, that means that we are not woke. Or we are conservative, that means that we are not communists, or we are not socialists. That seems to suggest that these things are the status quo, and we are somehow the odd ones out. We are somehow the strange ones. And I don't think that's the way we ought to look at it. We should define ourselves by our cultures and our traditions and our heritage that we wish to preserve, and recognize that there is an assault on these things, and particularly the family. And if I might add, I think we are tempted, because of demographics and all of these things, to put a very strong emphasis on having more children, which of course is necessary. Of course that's important. But if we think of families primarily or exclusively in terms of having more children, then we lose the more important aspect of what the role of the family ought to be. And I'd like to quote just one sentence from Dani Goosen, who's a very well-known and a leading Afrikaans philosopher, who said that families which seek only to guarantee material survival for a people can no longer be considered families in the proper sense of the word. Our families make up who we are. A family is not an instrument to have more children so that we can win the demographics game. Of course, the demographics game is very important. We know that in South Africa especially. So I'm not saying that's not important, but the family has a higher status than only being an instrument in an ideological struggle.
Thank you. Agnes?
Thank you. I think we have to go back before everything has started to change. And we have to follow biology. And this is that simple. So family is the basic of everything if we strengthen this. And if we give the awareness to the youngsters that together is better than alone, then they will know that a man and a woman can have a family and they can have children. If we set this fundamental to everyone, then we change the mindset. And I think we have to change it back to what it were before.
Okay.
今回特に私はこのハンガリーから学ぶことが非常に多いなと思っています。やっぱりこの家族を守るとか男性女性のしっかりとしたこの性別の素晴らしさ、さっき家族が本当はファッショナブルなんだっていうことをあなたおっしゃってましたけれども、やっぱりそれを本気で実現しようとする政治家が今日本には少なすぎる。これが一番の問題なんだなって私は思います。政治が本気を出せば必ずその国の文化っていうのは変わっていきますから、私は今回ハンガリーで学んだこと、これしっかり日本に持ち帰りたいなというふうに思っています。
Thank you. We could talk about this for another 20 minutes and another 2 conferences, I suppose, but our time is slowly ending. Never got to half of the questions that I wanted to ask. Nevertheless, in this final 2 minutes, I would like each of you to express your deepest, most important message that you would like to convey to Cpac and through Cpac to the world of conservatives that is out there. Ernst?
Thank you. That's a good question. I think that the most important lesson we have learned as Afrikaners or Boers in South Africa under current circumstances is the importance of building institutions that are, as we say, state-proof. In other words, that if the government turns against you, that they don't take your institutions with it. So that your institutions are community institutions, they are managed by the community and driven and managed within the context of the institution, and that they can protect the community from the government if needs be.
Agnes?
Thank you. I think every government have to decide how they would like to solve the demographic winter problem. We here in Hungary 13 years ago chose the way that we support families and put them into the center. They are the core value, they are the fundamental, and we support them as much as we can. This is how we would like to solve this problem, and I think the decision have to be made by every government.
Thank you.
はい、昨日のディナーでね、ノバーク大統領がおっしゃったことに僕すごく実は感銘を覚えていて、少子化対策を実現するためにとにかく4人子供を産んだらもう一生涯その奥さん減税だっていうんですね。日本の場合はその子育ての前の結婚するカップルが少ないので、私はここにノバーク大統領が言うような減税対策を持ち込んでいってカップルをどんどん増やしていくことで結婚の素晴らしさから子育てにというような流れを日本で作っていきたいなとこのCpacハンガリーで学びました。本当にありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, the esteemed panelists. Thank you, Cpac. It was great. Thank you.